2 months after Rockford Public Schools avert a strike, teachers union leadership claim the district is walking back on its contract deal. District 205 and Rockford Education Association call its contract fair on both sides. But Nathaniel Langley, who's followed this contract ordeal since the beginning, learns that the union feels the district abandoned its end of the bargain. Nathaniel?
Daniel, just when we thought RPS 205 and the Rockford Education Association closed the book on its agreement, allegations of broken promises emerged. The union's president and vice president say they hope the community steps in.
We are at our wits' end and are not sure where else to turn.
2,000 teachers, nurses, and more worked without contracts at Rockford Public Schools for 7 months.
We continued showing up every day and giving students what they need.
Now Rockford Education Association's president and vice president claim District 205 isn't showing up for their members.
I can't even say to you the contract's not even dry because it hasn't even been printed. And we have 4 grievances in the works.
The district approved an agreement with the REA February 25th.
We didn't strike, but we might as well be right back where we were at the beginning of February for the way the district is treating this contract.
REA President Claudia Marshall says the district disregards overage pay and caseloads, basically limits on class sizes and the number of students with special needs assigned to educators.
These are the things that they're continuing to deny and fight.
Vice President Christine Fowler-Nash argues overage pay for bilingual classes hasn't been followed through either.
We approved the certain articles that these grievances go with, and now they're completely undoing that language.
What options do you have here then? Because obviously I imagine a strike isn't possible at this rate, right?
Not a legal strike.
Right.
A walkout on the job is a huge thing, and clearly we aren't going to say that, but is that an option that could be done and has been done in the past? Yes. Am I saying that's what we'll do? Absolutely not.
The union filed an unfair labor practice with the Illinois Educational Labor Relations Board.
We need the community to know. We need the community to help us rally for what's right for students. Call your school board members.
What power does the board have in response to all of this? What could they do?
The school board should be informed. They should want to know these issues.
In a statement, RPS said it stands by the contract as implemented and remains committed to honoring the terms.
We've tried every other avenue, and we are at no other choice but to ask the community to get involved.
The REA is also involved in arbitration with District 205. The union leaders say one of their next meetings is scheduled for April 29th.
Now, Marshall and Fowler-Nash say that they recently met with upcoming Superintendent Larry Huff and were pleasantly surprised by his comments. Huff replaces Aaron Jarrett July 1st.